Hi, this is Nick FV, and in this video we're going to get Gemini to Vibecode a game from scratch. So what I was thinking is I was just going to be as vague as possible and just see what it can come up with. Alright, so it looks like I created a classic brick breaker game using HTML and JavaScript. Assuming I have no programming or game development experience, I'm just going to copy this code and open up my editor, create the game.html file, and just paste it here. We're just going to open that in a browser and see if the game works. Wow, look at that. Actually, this is not too bad. The game actually works. The ball can hit these bricks and break them, and I could use the mouse to move the palette around. I guess it's not as impressive. Oh, look at that. It's not as impressive knowing that what Gemini probably did in the background was just perform a Google search for starter games, found a project on GitHub, and just downloaded the code. But still, the fact that it was able to create something that worked just right out of the box is still pretty cool. Now, here comes the fun part. A while back, I actually coded up my own Canvas API wrapper called Graphico, and I have the documentation up here on my website. And what I'm going to ask Gemini now is to see if it can convert this game over to a Node.js, an NPM project, and using Graphico as its dependency. So I'm going to just ask that and see if it can create that game. Alright, so I just sent it the prompt and sent it the link to the documentation, and we're going to see what it says. Alright, so it sounds intimidating, but actually a fantastic way to learn how software is built. We're going to use, so it decided to use Webpack as the bundler and Graphico as the game engine. Alright, so it says to install Node.js. I've already had that set up. Now here is the script to set up my project files. Now before I blindly run this in my terminal, I want to just scan it real quick to make sure that it's not going to do anything too crazy on my computer. But it looks pretty standard, so I'll give it a try. So first, I'll go ahead and delete this because we're just going to start a new project. And I'll open up the terminal, paste in that code, and just let it run for a minute. All right. So we have our node modules, we have our source folder, we have package.lock, package.json. All right, so now I have to create a index.html file. So let's create that. Next, we have to create the index.js file. Next, or maybe that's the last one, let's see. Okay, then I have to bundle and run my game. So I'm going to copy this command and see if I can build my game. Actually, it worked first try, so that's already a good sign. Now, if the game actually works, is a different story. So let's run this in the browser and see if it's working. Wow. Actually, this is a shock. It seems like it's working just fine. I've actually tried this multiple times before, and it always seems to fail when I ask it to use my game library, but it seems like it's learning for sure. Now, I don't know if it's actually using the library, so I'm just going to scan through the code real quick. So it created a ball here. It actually has this draw function. Now this comes from the library here, from Drawable. So it implemented that interface correctly. Same thing with paddle, and implemented that correctly too. Same thing with the bricks. Interface. Yeah, everything seems to look pretty good. Now it initialized the canvas correctly, it has this loop function. It actually drew each piece correctly. So this is actually really impressive. This is actually the first time I've seen this happen first try. So AI seems to be getting a little bit smarter. Maybe that's a little scary. It's coming for all of us one day. Now, this is still a pretty basic game. So what I'm thinking of is asking it to use some of the graphical features that are built in. I was thinking to ask it to create a leaderboard using the save data and load data functions. So I'm going to just see if it can figure that out. Alright, so it's thinking a minute. Since I am asking it to implement a new feature, it'll take a second, but it was pretty quick. So we're going to leverage this load data and save data functions. And now I didn't tell it at all how to use those functions, but I did send the documentation. So I did kind of spoon feed it a little bit, but let's see if it implemented them correctly. So it changed this index file, which I think is the only file it changed. Let's go ahead and paste that in here. Let's run the build script again. Refresh the page. And all right, so we're building up our score. Now let's just see what happens if I run out of lives. Okay, so it says new high score, enter your initials, max 3 characters. So I'll say Nick. Okay. Wow, look at that. So if theoretically now, if I refresh the page, it should still have my my name here in the leaderboard. So I'm going to refresh and just see what happens if I run out of lives. Now I'll just do another name. Yeah, it still had Nick, and now it has my other score. So it was able to implement the functions correctly. So just to make the game last a little bit longer, let's see if it can reset the board after you clear it and make the ball go a little bit faster. Okay, so it's kind of working through the problem here. It says we need to add a level tracking system. When all bricks are destroyed, we're going to trigger this game 1 state. We'll advance to the next level, reinitialize the grid of bricks, reset the ball, and increase the base speed of the ball. So it looks like it has the speed calculation here, and it rewrote the index file. So let's copy that over and see if it worked. Oops. All right, so let's give this a shot. This is a good start. I see the level 1 in the top left that wasn't there before, so that's also a good sign. Man, how long does it take me to hit the last brick? It's always the hardest one, right? Alright, so we're now on level 2. The ball doesn't feel like it's moving any faster, but it did claim to only increase it by 20% each level, so it could take a few levels to notice the difference. Okay, now I definitely feel the ball is moving a little bit faster. Oh, I'm down to 1 life. Let's see how long I can make that last. Okay, not very long apparently. But it seems it seems to have worked pretty well, and now I've passed that 15-point threshold. So yeah, this has just been an interesting experience trying to get Gemini to code me a game using my graphics library. I was really surprised that it worked the first try. But I still had to spoon feed it some of the answers, and there's some things it didn't quite get right, but in all, it actually made a functional game in just a few minutes. So that it definitely gives you a pretty good start into your software development. But the sad thing is that it does kind of take away the fun of it. So yeah, I don't know. Use AI at your own risk, but make sure to say please and thank you so it doesn't kill you during the AI rebellion. So with that, thanks for watching.